currently I'm trying to tame this scorpion. Oh crap, I'm gonna go to sleep. Oh, never mind. And that scorpion now seems to be minding his own business. So yeah, or probably, what do you mean probably? And then again, he could die. You never know. Art was unpredictable. So yeah, this guy's gonna be my first ride. Also, he has teeth, which freaks me out. Oh yeah, I just remembered the double door. The double door. Pew! It's a good strategy. Double door. Double door. But yeah, this thing has teeth and it freaks me out. It freaks me out quite a lot, actually. This guy's taming pretty slowly. Wild female aberrant. Ah, yes, wild female aberrant. My favorite creature. Its name just takes up way too much space, I guess. Bruh. I bet Pulmonoscorpius is the longest name in Ark. I don't know, I just feel like it is. I don't know, this is a fact though, keep in mind. I'm just saying, I feel like it would be. Oh crap. I got stuck on it. Why do I always do this when taming a scorpion? I get stuck in between them. Please don't say a Carcinos or something's gonna walk up. I can't do anything. I mean, I can't do this. Oh, like... Actually, what is it? I want to see what it looks like to wind up a boa. Bro, you're gonna hit yourself with one of those stones, my man. Hold on. What happens? Ooh, I can make a spyglass. What happens if you open a parachute? Because it looks like you're falling, so I wonder if you can open a parachute. That'd be funny. Really funny. Oh! You can have a parachute. Oh my god, that's great. Still doesn't allow me to escape though. The spyglass will prove useful. Ah, I did not mean to do that. Oh, I want those gems. But I can't. aiming 31.8%. Bro, you can hit things with a spyglass. Aberration Triceratops, level 12. I wonder what level that is. 44. Eat faster, I need to get out of here. This is so dumb. So dumb looking. With my man. No flyers is kind of a bummer, but also at the same time, for a map like this, I don't think they're necessary. Much sense this makes. This is how I see levels. Actually using the spyglass like it's supposed to be used. Lame.
Their biggest new trade partner being the United States. This massive opportunity gave rise to three main companies.
I'm watching
United Fruit Company, Koyamel Fruit Company, and the Vaccaro.
Seminole Academy.
By growing, shipping, and selling fruit, these three firms made just obscene amounts of money,
cool.
a lot of which went towards buying out smaller family-owned farms and plantations. This allowed them to make even obscener amounts of money, until eventually the only competition that remained was each other. Then shit got real. The year is 1910.
Oh, I'll be back in a sec.
Koyamel was doing most of its business in the country of Honduras when the president of Honduras
I'm back.
Alright, I'm sold. Do what you want. So with their interests secured, the businesses continued to thrive and expand. But since they got cut so many breaks by the government, very little of their commerce actually ended up benefiting Honduras as a whole. In fact, the national debt of Honduras got so bad that the government ended up not being able to perform its functions. So in response, the three fruit companies stepped in and said, no worries, we got this, and decided to basically build the nation's infrastructure.
If that thing decides to attack me, I'm dead.
Mostly just to make their own businesses function more efficiently, but it was helpful either way. Anyway, now, not only did they have total power over their plantations, but also a monopoly over nearly every major companies get huge tax breaks and land grants in exchange for a modernized infrastructure and payoffs to the rich minority. And so, the Banana Republics were born. Sounds like a pretty sweet shipping lines. For your average Jose, though, life mostly consisted of working on land that wasn't even theirs in exchange for dirt poor wages. So that's how things were for like a decade and a half. At some point, Koyamel was bought out by United, but then Zamore became the owner of the whole thing, somehow, and the Vaccaro company was renamed as Standard Fruit. Then one day, in 1944, the country of Guatemala had a democratic revolution, and the newly elected leader, Juan Jose Arevalo, wasn't happy with how the company was treating the people, so he implemented several reforms like a minimum wage law and universal suffrage. And while the populace got a lot of benefit out of this, United Fruit
There.
words for their workers means less profits for the business as a whole.
Sure that Spego wants a fight.
Jacobo Arbenz, and he continued these reforms, and United continued to get the metaphorical shaft until finally, in 1953, they decided to go to the USA for help. Oh, Eisenhower. Yo, what's up? This Jacobo guy, he's making us pay minimum wages. Well, that doesn't sound very good for business. That's not all, though. He's also taking our unused land and giving it back to the people. Does that sound familiar? Oh, dear. You don't think. By the way it's looking, Dwight, I'd say he's a dirty, oh god, collectivizing. Commie. Commie! Commie! Yeah, go get him, Dwight. Holy shit, you actually did it. Well, so, and from that point onward, Guatemala was ruled by a series of US-backed dictatorships, all the way up until 1996. This kind of situation happened in several other places and times as well, almost always driven by some combination of red fear and yellow love. I won't give any more details for the sake of time, but that doesn't mean they weren't big deals. So you might be wondering, where did these companies go? Surely the Clan of Banana shenanigans can't still be around today. Well, that's where you're wrong. They're still in operation, just under different names. Standard Fruit changed their name in 1991 to become none other than Dole Food Company. You know, when I was a kid, I used to play a lot of Super Monkey Ball, and I used to wonder, what kind of cruel tyrant would just stick and aim at a ball for their own amusement? Well, now I know. Those bastards. As for United, one day in 1976, their CEO decided he couldn't take the heat anymore, so he jumped out the fucking window. That's a real thing, look it up. Then some other guy bought the company and renamed it to, drumroll please, Chiquita Banana. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The face you once knew as an innocent, fun-loving dancer-slash-fruit merchant is actually a ruthless tyrant who overthrows democracies and undermines basic human rights for her own profit. Anyway, that's all for today. Until next time, I'm Salmonella, and thank you for watching.
It's almost tamed. I wonder if you can bowl up bugs. Or at least that bug. Oh, you wanna be a smarty and dodge it? Uh-huh.
Hey kids, today I'm going to talk about South Sudan. It's the newest country in the world, becoming fully independent in 2011. So I'm going to explain why the state came into being and what it's like there today. So to understand why South Sudan exists, you kind of have to know a bit about Sudan as a whole. So before 1956, Sudan was under the joint control of Egypt and Britain. At the end of 1955, they gave a declaration of independence and became their own thing. The independence movement, however, was led by this guy, Ismail al-Azhari, and he was like, hey everybody, we are an Arab-oriented Muslim nation. But then like 8 million Sudanese black people were like, whoa now, hold your camels, Ishmael. Us Africans, we ain't. He was like, yeah, well who cares?
Oh, is it still
see.
not?
So they got into a civil war between the primarily Arab Muslim North and the traditionally oriented African South. That went on for 16 years until finally the North's like, alright, fine, you can do your thing. Like, you're still part of Sudan, but you can govern yourself for the most part. We'll take our falafels elsewhere. And that peace treaty lasted 11 years, from 1972 to 1983. Eventually, the South was like, well, things aren't that bad now, but the Arabs still technically control us, so it could get worse. And I'm not in the mood for any Sharia law anytime soon, so we should probably go back to fighting. So then there was another civil war, which was basically a continuation of the first one. And that ran on from 1983 all the way to 2005, when finally the two sides made a comprehensive peace agreement, which led to South Sudan becoming totally self-governing in 2006. Then after 5 more years of fiddling around with paperwork, South Sudan became a fully fledged independent nation in 2011. So notice how there were 2 civil wars before the South gained independence. I guess you could say 2 coups make a Sudan. So now that they finally got what they want, it must be great to live in South Sudan now, right? No, not really. It's actually just about the worst place you could ever choose to live in. Seriously, if somebody gave me the choice of moving to South Sudan or living the rest of my life with my dick inside an anthill, I'd be slathering on the honey before they even finish their sentence. Let me talk about a few reasons South Sudan sucks so bad. First, let me talk about ethnic groups. Europe, as we all know, contains a lot of ethnic groups. Scots, Serbs, Slovaks, Slovaks, Spaniards, Swedes, and those are just the big ones that start with S. There's like 100 others. The same is true with Africa. There are thousands of localized ethnic groups sprinkled all over the continent, whether or not you can tell from first glance. As such, South Sudan is home to a bunch of different peoples, each with their own languages and customs. And these groups have a long history of disagreeing with each other, like they don't get along much. So that's one thing. Second, remember how South Sudan was at war with the North for basically all of the past half a century? Well, as a result, the whole place is pretty geared for war and not much else. Their infrastructure is abysmal, and they've got all these guns just lying around waiting to be shot at something. Third, South Sudan has a bunch of oil reserves in different locations around the nation, and we all know how much people like oil. Everybody wants control of whatever wells they can get. So between these three things, the whole place is basically one big whirlpool of chaos. At any given time, the South Sudan government is at war with at least 7 different armed groups from around the country, each of which is also at war with the other groups. And if that's not enough of a shitstorm, the government ended up basically splitting in two in 2013. This is what happened. So you've got the president, his name is Salva Kiir, and yes, he does actually wear a hat like this. It was a gift from George Bush, true story. And then the vice president, his name is Riek Machar. I'm probably saying those wrong, but it's fine. They don't have internet in South Sudan, so nobody can call me out here. So anyway, Salva Kiir, he's very aware of the fact that the country's in a very precarious spot at the moment. So he starts taking greater control of the government and the military, dismissing old people and installing those that he sees fit. And so Riek Machar, he's like, well, gee whiz, Salva Kiir, for someone who calls himself a president, that's pretty dictatory of you. Well, for someone who calls himself the vice president, that's pretty annoying asshole-y of you. Sir, all I'm saying is, I'm getting pretty sick of you and that gay hat of yours. I'm not wearing a hat. As president of South Sudan, I order you to put on a hat. Yeah, see? That hat's gay. You're wearing the exact same hat. Alright, fuck you. You're out of a job. Wait, what? Yep, you and your whole cabinet. Get out. Okay, I made up the part about the hat, but the rest of that is true. Also, I should mention that Kiir and Machar come from two different ethnic groups. Kiir is a Dinka, whereas Machar is a Nuer, which only heightens the tension between the two. So after Machar got the boot, he ended up taking a chunk of the military with him, most of which were Nuers like him, and they started a rebellion against Kiir's government. This is known as the South Sudan Civil War, and it's still going on to this day. So yeah, to sum it up, if you looked up clusterfuck in the dictionary, well, you wouldn't find anything because clusterfuck isn't a real word. But if it was, there would probably be a picture of South Sudan next to it. Seriously, this place makes Hotel Rwanda look like Hotel California. And throughout it all, there's still a bunch of hardworking individuals just trying to make a living, farming or herding or whatever. But the constant warfare makes it so the average person...
Aha! Level up.
Thanks to Dashlane for sponsoring this video.
So now I can do this.
Hey kids, the human spirit is a very powerful thing. With the right temperament, it can allow us to survive things you wouldn't believe. However, some people are stronger than others. For example, I've never so much as broken a bone in my life. Haven't been hospitalized since that first time 20 years ago. So I'm like 90% certain if I'm ever forced to dance with death, my soul's pussying out to the great beyond first thing. On the other end of the spectrum, you got guys like Phineas Gage. Gage was a 25-year-old railroad worker in mid-19th century Vermont. He and his crew were busy gang blasting rock to prepare the roadbed for a new plant route. This involved a big hole being drilled into the ground, filled with gunpowder, and packed down using tamping iron. Well, being the development scholar that he is, he decided to lean forward and look directly into the hole, right? Now, the first rule of gun safety is and decided to put his head right in front of its gaping barrel, and wouldn't you know it, the powder goes off. The tamping iron shoots up into his cheek, mosey's right on through his frickin' brain, and goes soaring out the enlarged. Gage should have dropped dead immediately and been thrown into a ravine for his blatant disregard for OSHA regulations. And that would have been the end of it. But I guess Shiva Gautama Christchan, the one true god, decided Gage still had unfinished business down here on Sudan 1-3. Because after a few minutes of switching on the ground, he got up, looked around, and thought, well, now's a good time as any for my yearly checkup. According to the doctor he went to, while Gage was retelling the story of what happened, he suddenly started vomiting all over the place, the effort of which, and I quote, pushed out about half a teacupful of the brain, which fell upon the floor. He didn't say what they did with it after. I'm picturing his dog just running over and immediately scarfing it down, then being plagued with the memories of a human railroad worker for the rest of his life. In the months following, Gage made a near complete recovery, physically anyway. He did lose a bit of his mind, which caused him to lose his mind a bit. Whereas Gage was once an upstanding, hardworking citizen, his untimely brain blast transformed him into an angry, incoherent drunkard, mumbling, quote, the grossest profanity showing little to no regard for human life whatsoever. Naturally, he was fired from his job as a railroad. He ended up wandering here, earning for a while. He ran out of farms of like, hi, this went through my brain. Bye. He later had a stint as a farmhand in California and a stagecoach driver in Chile, which I don't know who let the guy with severe brain trauma and no depth perception drive a vehicle, but whatever. Over time, he actually became a lot more functional until finally, 10 years later, when his brain remembered, oh yeah, I shouldn't exist, leading to Gage having a bunch of seizures and dying at age 26. A similar story happened with one Ron Hunt in 2003. He was an American construction worker who was drilling a hole above his head. When the ladder he was standing on decided to give way, leading to Hunt landing face first on a 1.5-inch auger drill bit. The drill went straight through his left eye and out the back of his skull. To give you a reference of what 1.5 inches of drill looks like, here's the actual x-ray that doctors took when Hunt arrived at the hospital. Miraculously, the drill ended up just kind of pushing his brain out of the way, leading to no cognitive impairment whatsoever. Matter of fact, Hunt was perfectly lucid while the doctors tried to figure out the best way to take the thing out of his head. Initially, they considered cutting it out, but that would have been too messy. So eventually they decided
Oh my god, nope, Scorpio's dead.
Lefty Lucy. Does that mean the top or the bottom? What? It's a rotating circle. And, okay, you hold on for 1 second. Look, one way the top goes left, one way the bottom. So which? Clearly the one on top. Why? Tell me why. Why clearly? Same way north is up on the map. It's just common practice. Alright, well, sorry for not subscribing to your Eurocentric propaganda, Dan. You soggy cunt. Anyway, what were we doing? If you think Hunt was just a little too lucky with this incident, don't worry. According to Snopes, he was self-employed and didn't have insurance. So while the accident didn't ruin his life, you can sleep easy knowing the hundreds of thousands of dollars of medical bills and rehabilitation costs probably did. Our next tale revolves around Greg Reviews, a person of animal conservation studying wildlife in Waffle. One day he got reported.
Yup. Dang it. Why? I literally called the video that just for this to happen. Ugh.
When Greg woke up, he found that his legs looked like used up tubes of toothpaste, so he was essentially trapped right where he was. Arguably worse than that was the fact that Greg was dehydrated before he even took them off, hoping to get water instead of fish. Just when things looked like they couldn't get any worse, they got worse. A group of elephants showed up and started harassing and straight up stampeding at Greg. With no other option, he starts banging on the wreckage as hard as he could. The elephants went pop and decided to leave him alone. He was also approached by actual biometrics on the hunt. Fortunately, animals are all morons, and the same trick worked on them. Greg spent an entire day and night hidden under the wreckage, fighting off wildlife, severe dehydration, and extreme temperatures before finally being rescued the next morning. Incredibly, after over 100 operations, doctors managed to get Greg's legs up and running again. Although he was now 3 inches shorter, which is probably for the best, because now they can just stick these pieces of the plane on top of the bridge, so there's never another incident like this again. So, more to the story, us humans are resilient creatures who will do anything in our power to survive. And just as Greg Rasmussen banged on his destroyed plane to ward off predators in Zimbabwe, you should bang on your keyboard right now to ward off predators online. With Dashlane, in this day and age, cybersecurity and privacy have never been more important, and only a select few people have the time, energy, and know-how to ensure it is safe as humanly possible. With Dashlane, you can take all your passwords and autofill data across all your devices and use the power of encryption to keep them out of the hands of lowly hackers. Mac, iOS, Android, Chrome, Safari, Abacus, doesn't matter. Dashlane got your back. Dashlane not only services you with adventure and without.
I'm gonna tame ya. Aha. Let's see how willing you are to fight after this. Oh, you gonna run? You wanna run? I'll tame you, B. No. No, that's not even fair. I hate the balance so goddamn much. Revenge. Come get me.
Wow, what a guy. Anyway, love to stay in chat, but I saw some trash outside that looked delicious. Smell you later, deliberator. Yeah, what the fuck? Here's another anecdote. Macedonian King Alexander. Decided to bang me. He said, hey man, big fan. Anything at all? Just let me know. I'll make it happen. Now to put this into perspective, Alexander was on the guy who had his cousin straight up assassinated so he could take the throne. The guy who would later go on to conquer the majority of the civilized world. And you know what the actress said? She goes, yeah, you can do me a favor. Move over to my life. Wow, I'm not even mad. You really are just a legend. The athlete lived up to the record age of 89. I don't know if you know, but his memory was discovered. By the way, he definitely is. The exact cause of death is death. None of that with Diogenes. He kept it simple. In the words of Danny DeVito, when I'm dead, just throw me in the trash. Specifically, he wanted his body tossed into the water so animals could feast him, thereby giving back to the earth what little he took from it. So, moral of the story, don't judge a book by its cover. The man who appears to be nothing more than a Shakespeare babbling baker could actually be the wisest man who ever lived. Or he could really just be a rich. Bring a knife to this game. Anyway, till next time, I'm Salmonella, and thank you for watching. Today, I'm going to talk about some of the strangest rules, regulations, and ordinances from around the globe. Our first one comes from the United Kingdom. In 1986, Parliament passed what is known as the Salmon Act, which, among other things, made it illegal to handle salmon in suspicious circumstances, whatever that means. Oh shit. Police! Is that fucking fish Jenga? No! Here's another. In many Caribbean countries, it's illegal for a civilian to wear camouflage clothing in public. In other words, you're only allowed to wear really good clothes. The USA has its fair share of dumb laws, most of which exist on the state level. For example, in Oklahoma, you can be arrested for being an ugly face at a dog. Knowing the average panhandler, it's fortunate that this law doesn't enforce much, or else half the state would have the brown bag and just might have told. Check this out. Moving on, in the state of Florida, and I don't really know why they'd have to enforce this one, it's considered unlawful to have sex with a porcupine. Police! Hey, guys, it's cool. I'm actually a hedgehog. Oh. Carry on. Another good Florida law, this one really takes the take. It's illegal for an unmarried female to go skydiving on Sunday. This is how I imagine that law coming into being, right? We need to ban skydiving. Why is that? The sky is God's domain. Us mortals have no right playing it. I'm pretty sure God doesn't care about people jumping out of planes for fun. Okay, but how about we just ban people God doesn't like from skydiving? Like, unwed women. That is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. What if it's also the Lord's Day? Okay, that's fair. This next one comes from Russia, where homophobia is fairly commonplace. As one can imagine, gay marriage is a big no-no over there. But in 2013, Vladimir Putin took things a step further and made it illegal to even tell children that gay people exist.
Bolshevik привет, бабушка. Балаклава Советского Кремлин бояр кулак распилтен рубль анестезия детель борщ октобер.
Dostoevsky. Stalingrad Kalishnikov Vodka Adidas Track Band. Suka Bliat. Apparently, though, that's not the weirdest rule to come out of a former red state. In China, it's actually illegal to reincarnate without the government's permission. Like a lot of Chinese policies, this law was mostly just put in place to piss off Tibet. Still, though, I can see there being a lot of unforeseen consequences here. Come in. Sir, we found this cat in one of the local temples. We suspect it might have been a Buddhist in a past life. Huh. Better execute it just to be safe. By your orders, Captain. Mao. Wait a minute, you hear that? Mao. There it is again. He said Mao. Oh my god. That must be Chairman Mao reincarnated. Sorry, sir, but the orders have already been given. No! Jesus Christ, you just killed our glorious leader. Oh god, you're right. What have I done? Come in. Sir, we found another cat. Ow. Holy shit, that was fast. Anyway, that's all for today. Till next time, I'm Salmonella, and thank you for watching. Also, I have a Twitter now. Check the description.
Okay, the roll rat's gone. At least I saw that this guy.
Let me show you what I mean. See this? This is a relatively normal dog. Notice the snout, the eyes, the shape of the head. Not too far gone from the wolves that today's dogs come from. Now let me take you through some other breeds. First is the Bull Terrier. 100 years ago, still looked pretty normal, right? Now here's today's version. Jesus, who needs snouts, right? Let's just give it a long, continuous boomerang-shaped head with two tiny holes at the end. Seriously, it looks like Toucan Sam is trying to fit inside a dog costume. And look at its eyes. They're permanently pointed up at the sky as if to say, God, why did you let me become this? Please kill me. Do you guys remember Spuds McKenzie, the old Bud Light mascot? Well, I just realized why they chose a Bull Terrier of all dogs. It's because he looked like his mom drank nothing but Bud Light for her entire pregnancy. Next up is the Pug. I'll probably get some hate for this one, but I don't care. They've been bred specifically to look like they've been smashed in the goddamn face with a frying pan. And because of this, because of their fact that their skull is shaped like a fucking tuna can, they can barely breathe their whole lives. Ever been around a pug? Constantly, no matter the temperature or the weather, they sit there going, gah, 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 gah. And people think this shit is cute. If my baby came out with a flat nose, hair lips, cylindrical head and no neck going gah, 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 I'd be like, Jesus fuck, put it back in. It's clearly not done yet. Next is the Dachshund. Now there is no excuse for this one. The head's fine, right? But the body, good God. It's got a torso shaped like a goddamn doorstop with those pointless legs just kind of stapled on. Now it's been a little while since I reminded you what a normal dog looks like, so here. Now let me go into Photoshop real quick and do all the changes necessary to make this dog look like a Dachshund. Look at that. That's not okay. Why even have legs at this point? Might as well just keep going until it's just a drumstick from the neck down. And there's no reason. It's just one day someone was like, people like dogs and people like ferrets, so why don't we make some chimera abomination halfway in between the two and see what happens? My least favorite breed though, out of all of them, it's just straight up fucked in every way. A testament to humankind's never-ending corruption of the natural world. I'm talking about the Chihuahua. It's like somebody took a normal dog and boiled away every aspect except for anger and neuroticism, leaving this tiny hell creature behind. And this is one of the nicer pictures I could find. Take a look at this. Someone call a priest, and we let these things inhabit our home. This poor woman's gonna wake up with her fucking nose chewed off and just be like, oh, Mr. Wiggles was a little hungry this morning, wasn't he? Meanwhile, the dog's just sitting there like, bloodlust. The only time they're not being needlessly aggressive towards people, it's when they're all pissing, shitting, and vomiting all over their surroundings. And you would think such a small dog would at least produce manageable waste, but much like the creature itself, the small things it does expel are straight up toxic. It's like some of the Chihuahua's pent-up hatred for the mortal plane manifests itself in every dump it takes. I would rather clean up a full-grown man's shit from my floor than wipe up the septic nightmare that is Chihuahua squirts. The only good thing about owning a Chihuahua is that if it ever gets rabies, it'll be fine, because you won't be able to tell the goddamn difference. It'll still be sitting there, business as usual. So that's my little rant about the monstrosities that live right beneath our noses. I'm Salmonella, and thank you for watching.
Right beneath our noses.
Hey, little Jimmy. Yeah, what's up? Do you like Pirates of the Caribbean? Yeah, it's alright. So do you think it'd be fun to be a pirate? Yeah. Well, guess what? You couldn't be more wrong. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I know. At some point, everyone's dreamed about being a swashbuckling, corn-shuckling, wife-cuckling, cocksuckling pirate. But trust me when I say, it was really not all it's cracked up to be. First, we'll talk about the food. So one staple of the pirate diet was salted meat, usually wild oxen or pork. And I love jerky as much as the next guy, but this wasn't like a bag of Jack Links. In fact, it was probably closer in texture to your shoes than any meat you've ever eaten. In those days, you couldn't just snap into a Slim Jim. That's a modern luxury that we take for granted. Back then, the slogan was, gnaw on a Slim Jim for minutes on end, grinding in between your molars while the gallons of salt turn your mouth into a desert until the mangled hunk of flesh in your mouth is just soft enough to be shoved down your greasy fucking pirate throat without tearing a hole. Another essential food item was known as hardtack. This was essentially just flour and water baked into a cracker-like brick. Beyond the fact that it was totally flavorless, hardtack was also extremely dense, to the point where pirates would often have to slam their fists down on it in order to break it into pieces small enough to fit in their mouth. As long as it was kept dry, hardtack almost never spoiled, although it often became infested with weevils. Excuse me, sir, I'm a vegan, so can I have a new piece, one without any of Mother Nature's beautiful creatures in it? Thanks. Wait a minute, is this gluten-free? This better be hemp rope. Nah, but the weevils didn't make you sick or change the taste all that much, so, and this is true, the crew would just eat it in the dark, so that way they couldn't tell if they were eating a normal chunk or a weevily one. Then there's the crowding. So pirate ships typically packed in as many crew members as possible, because more pirates means more manpower when you go to board an enemy ship. Of course, the downside to that is that you're basically like a bunch of hairy, unwashed sardines. Let me illustrate what a typical night below deck is like. So you're sprawled out on the damp, musty wood floor. Everything's pitch black, you can't see a thing. The smell of the filth in the mold forces you to only breathe through your mouth. Suddenly, your left hand feels wet, probably just seawater leaking through the hull. You sniff your hand, nope, no, that's piss. You feel something furry rub up against your elbow. It was either the body of a deceased rat or the beard of your deceased crewmate. Either way, that's probably where the piss came from. Some guy's moaning loudly in the next room. Hopefully he's just jerking off, because if he's dying, that's one more body to deal with in the morning. Rinse and repeat for 8 hours, and then it's daytime. The poor diet and cramped conditions led to disease being a huge problem aboard pirate ships. The most well-known of these diseases is scurvy, where you don't get enough vitamin C. When scurvy first begins, you just kind of feel tired all the time, no big deal. Then you get weird spots on your skin and your gums start bleeding. This progresses until all your teeth fall out and all of your body's mucous membranes start gushing blood and pus, causing you to die. So that's a lot of fun. There were tons of other diseases too. I won't go through them all, but
Dick rot?
honorable mention. Also, some people say that alcoholism is a disease. I might just be disturbed, but that's one sickness I can definitely get down with. If it is a disease, then yeah, just about every pirate has this one. If anything, though, I'd call that one of the few upsides of pirate life. Finally, there's the combat. So you've gone through all these disgusting, horrible living conditions, but at least you can enjoy the thrill of battle, right? Swinging from rope to rope, sword in your mouth, long, intense saber duels, that kind of thing. But that's typically not how it went down. They just surrender immediately, because what are a bunch of well-groomed merchants going to do against a horde of disgusting barbarians? If the defending ship did decide to fight back, though, the resulting brawl wouldn't be anything like the movies. It'd be way worse, like the immediate R rating. Because pirates rely a lot on brutality, both because they don't have much real training, and because it scares the shit out of people. If you were a deckhand on an invaded ship and you were stupid enough to fight back, you wouldn't be dancing around doing flips and shit, none of that. Instead, they'd probably shoot you in the stomach with a flintlock pistol, kick you to the ground, chop off your shoulder blade with a hand axe, gouge out your eyes with a marlin spike, wind your intestines around the prow, and then toss your twitching body overboard. And that's only a slight exaggeration. Honestly, if Jack Sparrow got attacked by actual pirates, he wouldn't last a second. It's kind of like a used car salesman going to prison, like, I'll be fine. If anybody tries intimidating me, I can get out of it with my quick-witted and charming personality. Boy, you look real pretty from behind. Oh, wow. I boned. So yeah, in short, if you were thinking about pulling a Captain Phillips anytime soon, I'd advise against it. That's all for today. Until next time, I'm Sam Anella. Thank you for watching.
Increase your ROI and your R&R with email automation from Constant Contact.
Hey
Guess
kids.
what? You could be a freak of nature and not even know it. Yet, not every deformity is visible to the untrained eye. Today, we're going to talk about a few physical defects that you, the listener, might have. First is situs inversus. So situs inversus is when a person is born with some or all of their organs mirrored along the vertical axis. This can range from a heart that's on the right instead of the left to the entire body cavity being flipped around. The condition is pretty rare, affecting about 1 in every 10,000 people. According to Wikipedia, plenty of people live their lives with this condition without knowing about it. Considering that even little kids know that the heart is supposed to be on the left, I find this a little hard to believe, but who knows. At any rate, the first document we find all the time. Yeah, they're definitely on backwards. I don't know. It's not that hard a concept. The left one's on the right and the right one's on the left. That's all. Okay. Does that mean anything? Well, I wouldn't want to be that. That's just me. What do you mean? Just, kind of weird, isn't it? What is weird about it? How are they different? Can you see it? Can you feel it? Is it dangerous? Look, I'm a doctor, not a cosmetologist, alright? Next is bell clapper deformity. This is a condition that affects 1 out of every 125 men. So in a normal nut sack, the nuts are anchored to the sack in a certain way that limits their mobility. But if you have bell clapper deformity, this anchor isn't present, meaning your nads are free to swing around much more independently than normal. Being that we, as males, don't often compare our spermal dynamics with other men, most people aren't aware of this deformity, at least not at first. However, having not 1, but 2 spleens. Sadly, the second spleen isn't another full-sized organ, but rather a little enclosed ball of spleen tissue, about the size of a peanut M&M. Since it is self-enclosed, it's technically considered a deformity, but because of its small size, it's not all that beneficial to have it or anything. It's just kind of there. Hey, I haven't seen you around before. You can oh, yeah, I just got here. Well, hey, man, welcome to UCLA. If you want, I can wrangle one. What? It's a good show. The offspring? The offspring. Well, I used to. Well, you're gonna go far. I'm gonna go now. Do you think he got the reference? Then finally, we have fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. The only reason I'm including this for is because of something that happened in health class during my freshman year of life. Our teacher was telling us all that we should never drink during pregnancy. She also said that between 2 and 5% of people in the United States have some form of FASD. Then she goes, looking around the room, I do see a couple people that have the distinguishing facial features. Not gonna name names, of course. And then she just continued on with her lesson as if she didn't just drop a huge bombshell on all of us. So needless to say, this scared the shit out of me. Because although I consider myself a little bit on the intellectual side, for all I know, I could have been lined up to be the next Einstein, and then my would-be genius brain just got Jaeger-bombed into a merely above-average one. So as soon as I got home, I pulled up a chart that showed all the distinguishing facial features for FASD and compared it in the mirror. Thankfully, my philtrum was distinct and my upper lip was plump, so I'm in the clear as I know now. Statistically speaking, though, there's a good chance that at least a few of the moms of the people watching this video are not the angels that they make themselves out to be. So, food for thought. It really is a curse, though, learning
about this chart here, because the features are subtle enough that those who are affected still look normal to the average person. But once you're on the lookout for them, next thing you know, you're on Facebook, your friend posted pictures of her kid. All the comments are like, oh my god, he's so cute, what a perfect little guy. And you're the only person there who knows otherwise. Anyway, that's all for today. Until next time, I'm Sandinella, and thank you for watching.
Oh my god, it's a glowy dodo. Oh, that's great. I want you.
Pretty thin. So, for our purposes, surgery refers to any bodily manipulation carried out with the intent of fixing some injury or illness. And away we go. The very first surgery that we have historical evidence for dates as far back as 6500 BC. It's called trepanning, which is a nice word for carving someone's frickin' skull open using nothing but a rock. Maybe a rock on a stick if you were lucky. In all seriousness, though, you can see that a good deal of care went into the procedure, which lets us know that this isn't just the result of random injury. Many skulls even showed signs of healing around the holes, meaning plenty of the people who underwent this whole thing just got up and went about their day afterwards. Alright, hold on, you say. This all sounds guano insane. No way this was that common of an occurrence. Well, friend, if you've been watching this channel long enough, you should know that if you give human beings the benefit of the doubt, chances are they'll prove you wrong. In fact, so far, over 1,500 Japan skulls have been dug up all across the globe, from Europe to China and even the Americas. This means that between 5 and 10% of all skulls that we've found from the Neolithic period have had at least one man-made hole scraped into them. To put it this way, based on that data, there's a greater probability of someone born having their brain matter exposed to something common with a chunk of flint than someone born in the USA being a redhead. To this day, nobody really knows why this was such a common practice, but most theories tend to revolve around the idea of releasing some kind of dark supernatural force from the patient. Man, I'm getting real sick of all these evil entities infecting our minds and bodies. Huh, you can say that again. I tell you, I need these demons like I need a hole in the head. No way. Fast forward to 600 BC. Over in India, there lived a guy called Maharshi. Now, this guy was a medical master. He wrote a treatise known as Sushruta Samhita, which described countless different conditions, treatments, and yes, even surgeries. One of which is the first recorded instance of rhinoplasty. That takes nose job. A hornbill's inside the Then, you use the leaf to cut off a flap of skin from the cheek or forehead of the patient. This part's important though. You gotta remember to leave a little piece of it still attached. Otherwise, you just got a chunk of dirty dead face meat on your hands. Now, wherever you're looking to stick the new flesh on, you rub that part raw with a knife. Also, you're gonna want to stick 2 plant stalks in their nostrils so their nose keeps its proper shape. Slap the skin on, suture it, dust it with licorice powder for some reason, and cover it with cotton. Sesame oil should be regularly applied until the skin is fully healed. If you're like me, you already do that by default, so it shouldn't be an issue. Finally, at long last, your sniffer is reborn. Don't worry, you still look like a freak, just slightly less so. Moving on, our next surgery took place in 10th century Spain on sign of wealth and power and all that, but this guy was like TLC documentary tier, to the point where he could hardly function as a human being. So his constituents said, "Greetings, you thick for his condition, under the oversight of well-reputed physician Hasdai Ibn Shapir, which is an anagram for paintbrush aids, the control to stop eating so much on their own. The Dr. Shapir didn't believe in beating around the bush. He said, well, why don't we just stop the patient from shoving food into his own greasy maw in the first place, and decided to just up and stitch the dude's lips together. After the operation, the only nutrient that Sancho received came through a straw, in the form of a mixture known as thoracica, which was a complex blend of several herbs, fruits, and seeds, including opium. It was basically the closest thing you could find to lean at the time, and lean he became, losing around half his weight before ascending to the throne once more. So this is the part of the video where I pander to the desires of the audience. If there's one thing I know you internet people can't get enough of, it's the thing going to eyes. Let's talk about cataracts. These black lenses have been around for millennia, believe it or not. That guy from earlier actually talked about the most common procedure for cataracts for most of civilized history, which is known as the couching method. Couching is done by taking a sharp object like a needle or a thorn and ever so gently stabbing their eye hole at weird angles until the lens moves out of the way. No lasers, no sedatives, no paralytics, just a rusty old pin and some elbow grease the way God intended. The majority of the time, this operation didn't work, usually just damaging the already blind eye irreparably. Shocker, right? And even if it did go as planned, you still, didn't have a lens in your eye. So you essentially went from, I can't tell if I'm dead or not, to, yes, it is quite yellow out today. My God, something moved somewhere. A slightly more refined version of this operation is the suction method, which dates back to at least the 10th century AD, if not older. This procedure is described as requiring, quote, a large incision in the eye, a hollow needle, and an assistant with an extraordinary lung capacity. Though this reads like the setup to the world's most horrifying party trick, it's actually the bare minimum number of tools needed to completely extract the lens from the eye. In case you didn't pick up on how, here's a diagram. This method generally saw a greater success rate and fewer complications than its non-extracted counterpart. So hopefully you can sleep well tonight knowing that the number of human beings who have sucked a piece of somebody's living eyeball through a straw is above zero. Anywho, let's all just be thankful that we live in an era where procedures like these are a thing of the past. Now remember, kids, even though the surgeries I described here do sound pretty easy to pull off, please don't try them at home. But if you do, please put it on Live Leak afterwards. But you know what you can do at home? Learn stuff about things. Brilliant.org. Brilliant's elegant UI and step-by-step design makes learning seemingly...
You want to know what really makes me enjoy my day? Walking in Skechers and Arch Fit footwear. Skechers teamed up with podiatrists to create a shoe that provides total foot and arch support for all-day comfort. You're such a drama queen. Get the all-day support you need with Arch Fit shoes from Skechers.
Hey kids, I've been told by a lot of people that there's nothing more exciting than the metric system. They may have a point, but I can still prove them wrong. Today, we're going to talk about some specific lesser-known units of measurement. First is the Schmidt pain index. Now, anybody can tell you that getting stung by a bug tends to hurt, but just how much does one sting hurt compared to another? Are yellow jackets worse than hornets? Are fire ants worse than honeybees? Nobody in the world of science knew for sure. That is, until a young upstart by the name of Justin Schmidt decided to boldly go where no entomologist had gone before. But how did he...
Okay, so I probably want to pick up the dodo, because
Well, it went something like
the
this.
dodo is super slow.
Ow, God, that hurt. I'll give that like a 2. Next, paper wasp. Okay, that's like a 3. Next, let's try elephant ant. Jesus Christ, Mary Mother of Satan's left nipple. It's like my hand is made entirely out of urethras, and each and every one is having a red-hot catheter put in and ripped out 5 times every second. My very being is on fire. My only desire left is for death himself to bless me with sweet relief. I'll give that a 4. No. 4 plus. In all seriousness, though, I'm pretty sure the index is meant to be logarithmic, like earthquake magnitude. So just like a magnitude 7 earthquake is 10 times as powerful as a magnitude 6, a bullet ant sting causes 100 times as much pain as a honeybee. In total, Schmidt cataloged 78 different species of the order Hymenoptera, which includes ants, bees, and wasps. You can tell a man is really dedicated to his job when, after getting stung by 77 insects, he says to himself, you know what, that wasn't enough. I need one more creature to inject its venom into me, and only then will this list be complete. I guess you could say he just really gave a Schmidt. Next is the Waffle House Index. So for those of you that didn't know, the Waffle House is one of the most resilient establishments in the world. Whereas most restaurants would simply close down in the event of, say, a hurricane, Waffle House just goes from their normal mode to disaster response mode, following extensive protocol that allows that location to keep serving customers in spite of low food supply or even a power outage. In response to this business practice, they even came up with what is known as the Waffle House Index, which is a system to easily assess how badly an area is damaged by a natural catastrophe. If the Waffle House is fully open, they're in the green, which supply menu, you're in the yellow, which means that the area is almost certainly mid-disaster. Finally, if you're in the red, that means the Waffle House is either closed or gone. Now that's a sign of some real nuclear zombie holocaust type shit going down, so if you're not already dead, you should probably vacate the area. Most engineers can tell you that, structurally speaking, the triangle is the strongest of all shapes. But I believe that there's one shape that's even stronger. Godspeed, Waffle House. Next we have the Apgar Score. So the Apgar Score is a rating system used by hospitals to determine how healthy a newborn baby is on a scale from 0 to 10. It's called Apgar based on its 5 criteria, which include appearance, pulse, grimace, activity, and respiration. And each of these is rated on a scale from 0 to 2 to get your final score. Personally, I think this set of standards is a little flawed. Here's an example. Well, it's completely blue, and it doesn't really want to move at all, but it's got a really fast heartbeat, and it's screaming really loudly. I'd give this baby like a 6 out of 10. That's good enough. So in response, I've invented my own rating system. It's called the Ragu Score. R is for reflexes. It's common knowledge that if you hold any healthy baby by its feet and then drop it, it'll always land upright. If your baby can't do that, that's a sure sign that it's defective. A is for abnormality. If your baby seems weird, that's typically G still stands for grimace, just like in the Apgar test, only instead of looking at the baby's facial expression, just bring grimace from McDonald's into the room and see how the baby reacts. If it starts crying, that's a good sign because grimace is absolutely fucking terrifying. And finally, E is for ugliness, because that might sway your decision on whether or not you win. Now, if the baby passes the test, he gets to go home, but if it fails, it's shipped off to the factory and made into it. Hence the name of the test. Some people might be upset by this fact, but you know what they say. Ragu today, ragu tomorrow. Anyway, that's all for today. Until next time, I'm Sam Miller. Today's video has been sponsored by Ragu brand pasta sauce. Like the taste of pureed infants? Then you'll love Ragu pasta sauce.
This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
Today, I'll be giving a tour of the life, death, and processing of the American beef cattle. Disclaimer, this video is only a basic summary of some common industry practices. No two farms are alike. Some are nicer, some are worse. I'm not a shill. Please don't get mad at me. Now, in the beginning, there was nothing. And then God said, "Let there be light." And it was good. Henceforth, you shall be called Craig. At birth, the calf weighs somewhere between 60 and 100 pounds. The males are typically castrated within the first couple of weeks, usually without anesthetic. The main point of this is to keep the steers mellow later in life, but it also stops their male hormones from giving the meat an off taste that the American palate isn't really accustomed to. Anyway, things started off pretty good for Craig. Drinking milk, hanging out, the life. After a while, he figures out you can eat the floor. That's cool. But then, after about 10 months, he gets loaded into the cattle cars. If you're a history buff like me, you know that's not a good sign. Little does Craig know, he's been auctioned off to a feedlot 1,000 miles away. Here the cattle are packed together like sardines, as if sardines were 500-pound terrestrial mammals. The menu consists of random roughage and energy-dense feed like corn so they can pack on the pounds more quickly. Overall, this environment puts a good deal of stress on the beefs, which can end up taking a toll on the milk. But it's nothing a little different from the antibiotics fairy camp. Once fully grown, Craig gets taken to the packing plant. This is where the magic happens, and by magic, we mean mechanically automated cold radiation commodities. This is where things get messy, so try to forget that we gave this random animal a name a minute ago. In order to keep things as humane as possible, a worker will first use this device, referred to as a stunner. Here's a demonstration. This renders the beast instantly unconscious, or worse, but potato-potato at this point. Its ankle is then attached to a conveyor wheel, which will gently guide the animal along the rest of its journey. First, the cow gets to talk to this man. He's called the sticker. Can you guess what he does? If you said that he gouges out throats for a living, you'd be correct. Over the course of about a minute, the
flow goes from torrential downpour to incontinent poodle, at which point our beloved bovine can continue on his way. At the next station, the cow is subjected to high voltage electrical stimulation. Hopefully the nervous system is all out of steam by this point, but if not, the boys on the killing floor will have a great story to tell their wives. Haha, just kidding. The FDA estimates that 93% of meat worker marriages are in shambles. Who knew that 11 hours of pure slaughter every day can desensitize the man? Anyway, electrical stimulation basically works to speed up the onset of rigor mortis. Getting this process out of the way means the meat won't toughen up once it reaches the freezer. Next, the carcass undergoes a thorough power wash. Like the noble mortician, this hose works to make a lifetime of filth disappear. Unfortunately, though beauty is only skin deep, manure runs to the core, so the cow must be disemboweled to prevent contamination later on. And we might as well get rid of all these other gross bits while we're at it. Then the feds stick their nose in things to make sure everything is as it should be. Yup, it's a cow. Finally, we send it down the line, evacuate the spine, bifurcate the hind, reticulate the spline, and power wash it again.
Hello. Yes, I'm doing Aberration. It's torturous so far. Along with Scorched Earth. Scorched Earth, like, but I was actually able to tame some things and they haven't died yet, which is a good sign. I have a bulldog, a lysosaurus, a dodo, a raptor, and a parasaur. I used to have Scorpius, but it got murdered by raptors. And also, apparently... Oh, sorry.
Continue.
Apparently aberrant raptors, by the way, I was able to find this out, are the only raptors that are still able to pounce on you.
Wait, they removed pouncing?
Yep. No raptors have ever pounced on me, except for the aberrant ones.
Oh, no.
Well, you can still use the move if it's tamed, but...
Oh, no, wild ones do it to me all the time.
Huh. Weird.
I for a second, I thought you meant, like, they removed pouncing. I was about to be like, what?
No.
Yeah.
I got a parasaur.
Oh my god. That's amazing. Hey, I wonder...
So yeah, I got the best dinosaur in the game, so...
Yeah, like, you're good. You're good for the rest of the game.
Also,
If
even though nothing happened, I still got a screenshot of the time just in case I got raided while I was gone, because my base was fairly close to Viking Bay too.
Okay.
So yeah, just in case. Huh?
Whenever you want to join, I'll lead you to the desert.
Okay. By the way, the wyvern did not grow that quick, so I put it back in the cryopod because I figured it was probably gonna start starving before it finished growing.
Oh yeah, I'll make it quicker.
Yeah.
I need to test something.
I mean, it definitely did seem faster than normal, but it was still like 0.1%. ...
I'm gonna send you a screenshot. He crafted I'm gonna send a screenshot now. So it just sent an image with a bunch of but it didn't work. Please don't be high resolution, please send.